This will be our sixth part of our spiritual warfare series. And when we talk about spiritual warfare, we always keep in mind the thing that we are at war over is whether you will win or lose your soul. That's what the battle is about. That's what the battle is for. Whether you will win or lose your soul. So this will be part 6 of this spiritual warfare. Part 3 in sub-series of Satan's Playbook. Tonight we're going to discuss 2 things. I was going to say 3, but I don't think we'll get to the third. So 2 things. I want to talk about anger, how Satan will use anger, and how Satan will use ego. Anger and ego. Satan's Playbook alone, I could stay in here. I can stay in this part of it for a while, but there are other aspects of a spiritual warfare that I want to get to. So let's talk about anger for a little while. Have you ever, do y'all watch these Marvel and DC movies? You know, the superhero movies. Some of you. Some, yes, no, okay. But you know them, though. You know Superman. Matter of fact, let's name a couple of superheroes. The Hulk, yep. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, that's my mom's favorite. And in our connected campus, you go ahead and chime in as well. We want to make sure that you are a part of this discussion. You said Aquaman, Black Panther. Is that it? Huh? Captain America, who's one of the wackest superheroes of all of them. What was the other one? Spider-Man, Catwoman. Yeah, okay. I forgot about Catwoman. It ain't really. Ever since Halle Berry played her, you ain't seen Catwoman since. Yeah, ever since Halle Berry played her, you ain't really seen Catwoman since. So, do you know? Okay, all right, so. Yeah, I'm just moving on. I'll just move on from it. Now, I heard somebody say something about the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk, of all of the superheroes, is unique in his way because Superman gets his powers from, anybody know? Anybody? From the sun, right. From the sun. Batman gets his powers from, yeah, he don't have any, right? But he got a utility belt. Yeah. Let me see. And Wonder Woman, I'm not really even sure what Wonder Woman gets her superpowers from. So, yeah, I mean, she turned around, but I mean, that ain't where she gets the powers from, though. Like, I don't know where she gets the powers from. Iron Man gets his powers from chess and technology because he's really smart, I guess. So you see, different superheroes get their super powers from different places, but the Incredible Hulk is unique in that he was in some experiment that went wrong, and he's chill, he's cool, he's just a regular person, just like all of us sitting in here. But what makes him go from normal to different, super, I guess, is what? It is anger. His old tagline used to be, "You wouldn't like me when I get angry, or when I get mad." Yeah, you wouldn't like me when I get angry and when I get mad. That's because when he gets angry, when he gets mad, that's when he goes from Bruce Banner to the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, Dr. Bruce Banner. I wonder, how many of us have a Hulk side? How many of us have a you wouldn't like me when I'm angry? You know, skin may not turn green. You may not get muscles, but you get angry strong. You know, you get angry strong. It is a version of ourselves. If the Hulk comes out when we are angry, it is essentially a version of ourselves that is different when we are calm and rational and peaceful. That being angry can turn us into another version of the same person. It's still you. It's still Bruce Banner in there. He in there somewhere. Just like with us, when we lose our temper, when anger begins to be the controlling thing of our life, of that moment, of whatever it is, you're still in there somewhere, but you're a different version of yourself. You are now an angry version of yourself, and that version of yourself is now being motivated and controlled by anger. Do you hear how dangerous that is? That's why it is part of Satan's playbook. Because if I am being motivated by my anger and controlled by my anger, I am not being motivated and controlled by the Lord, by things that are good, by things that are loving, by things that are peaceful. So even though, I don't know, what do we say? All of us got a hope, some of us, most of us. And let me tell you, if you think you don't, yours is probably the worst. Yeah, because people in denial, if you are in denial of a thing, you can never address the thing. So Satan will use anger because when we are angry, we are not thinking rationally or calmly. So when we get, let me put it this way. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and verse 27. I need to help all of us because anger grabs a hold of all of us. I don't care how saved you are. I seen some of y'all at a stoplight. I've seen some of y'all in the restaurants and fast food places fresh out of church. I've seen some of y'all when there's a cashier and the cashier is taking a little too long because they new and don't know what they're doing. I've seen some of y'all when you have a waiter or a waitress and they aren't doing as good a job as you think they should be doing. I ain't going to get a hold of all of us. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and 27. Ephesians, and let me tell you about Ephesians was written by the Apostle Paul to a church in a city called Ephesus. Let me do a little biblical origin for you. So as Paul writes to this church in a city called Ephesus, that's why it's called Ephesians, because the Apostle Paul, who would establish churches in multiple places. Some of these churches he would establish in places he'd been. Some of these churches he would establish in places he had not been, but his name carried enough weight that if he wrote them a letter, he could help church people stop acting a fool. Everybody got to be able to listen to somebody. If you don't listen to anybody, Lord have mercy. And this city of Ephesus was an ancient port city. Yeah, port city, it means it was by the sea, by the water, so ships would come in and out. It was an ancient port city. It actually has well-preserved ruins. And let me make this live for you a little bit. It is located in what we now call modern-day Turkey. And y'all remember Turkey was just in the news. See, one of the most wonderful things about the Bible is you can fact-check it. The things that happen in real places, that some of these real places you can still go to. So Ephesus was essentially in a place now we call Turkey. The city was once considered the most important Greek city and the most important trading center in the Mediterranean region. So when Paul wrote there, he wrote there to a major city experiencing some issues in this new thing called Christianity and this new group of people called Christians. And the passage begins in Ephesians chapter 4 with Paul trying to give Christians a focus. And as he's giving Christians a focus, this is what he says in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and 27. I'll be reading from the New Revised Standard Translation. So here he is writing to these people in this big city, this new church, these new people. This is what he tells us, new folk. Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We on that? Okay, we on. All right. Also, be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. The third part of it says, and do not make room. Y'all got that last part? And do not make room for the devil. See, because Paul knew what we're talking about tonight. The devil uses anger as a tool in his bag of tricks. So when we get angry, what kind of things does anger tell us to do? Well, when we get angry, when people get angry, because I know we don't want to. So when people get angry, what kind of things does anger tell them to do? Hurt somebody, all right. Get payback, okay. Give them a piece of your mind. Sometimes the piece, sometimes the whole thing. Yeah. It all depends. It all depends. So what kind of things does anger say do? Be destructive. That's right. Tear something up. And anger will even have you tear up something that actually has value to you. Y'all see all these people that get so into a football game? These people that get so into a football game that when their team loses, they go punching the TV and all that kind of stuff. Now, because anger will make you do things that don't make sense. That's the whole purpose of it. It is if you are motivated and controlled by anger, you are not going to do things that are productive. You are not going to do things that bring productivity to your life. You're not going to do things that bring productivity to your household, to your family, to your relationships, because anger is a destructive emotion. So when we are angry and we are making decisions in that anger, we will more often than not make a destructive decision. That's why Paul said, listen, I'm not even going to tell you not to be angry. You're human. You're going to get angry. That's why I'm glad all of you admitted from the outset that, yeah, we all got to deal with anger. It is natural to get angry. But it is ungodly to then act on that anger. It is natural to get angry. You are human. You have emotions. You are experiencing life just like everybody else is experiencing life. And when life starts lifing, and life is always lifing. Somebody might have walked in dealing with an anger from life in the day. Because it don't take breaks, y'all. But acting in anger leads you down a path of sin. And the devil knows it. That's why he uses it. So if I'm in spiritual warfare, and I am, and my soul is on the line, and it is, and anger will cause me to act in sin, and it does, then we have to do just like what Paul said. We got to acknowledge when we're angry. Do you know that some people don't even know when they're angry? Because they're angry so much? Did you know that? Some of y'all live with people angry all the time. Some of y'all are the people. angry all the time. That's why, remember, just a couple of minutes ago, we said if you can't admit you have to deal with anger, you have a bigger problem than the person that does know they have to deal with anger. Anger often leads us down a path of sin because of the very things we already enumerated. When you are angry, it does not inspire productivity. It does not inspire things being constructive. It inspires the very opposite. I'm angry and I'm going to go in there and destroy this thing. I'm going to get revenge. I am going to say something out of the anger. I'm going to do something out of being angry, because anger leads down a path of sin. That's why the devil uses it. And that's why we all have to be mindful and cognizant of it, because we don't want to be used by the devil. But he will if we're not careful. Even in church. Even in church. Anger get a hold of you. And now you done said something shouldn't have said, done something you shouldn't have done. And anger would say, so what? And the thing about anger, y'all, and the devil knows this. The devil knows this. Some plans are like, I'm trying to think of somebody that has very intricate plans with a whole lot of details and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, somebody that has plans and details and is very intricate and whatnot. Like some plots, some plans in order to get you out of the will of God, I believe take a lot of maneuvering and involving other people and all that kind of stuff. But see, the thing about anger is it happens quick. It happens quick. Oh, y'all don't want to be honest? Anger happens quick. And the next thing you know, if you are not careful, you have gotten angry, and that anger has led you to go down a sinful path. And it happened before you know it. And then you're like, oh, my Lord. Did I say that? Did I? Yeah, y'all be sound like Steve Urkel. Did I do that? So to have a healthy understanding of your emotions, of the things that make you angry, of the conversations that can cause you to get angry, is a very healthy, self-aware thing to do. Because if not, we can get angry and go right down a path of sin. And let me say this. Because of some anger, some of us owe some people some apologies, y'all. And I know it. I have already read your mind. I'll apologize to them after they apologize to me. And listen, I ain't risking my soul on that. I ain't risking my soul on that. Because you might live your whole life being a fool. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You may never come to the conclusion that you owe me an apology. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I am in a soul battle. And the devil might use you to keep me, excuse me for pointing in this direction, might use someone to keep me in an angry place because I won't apologize and let it go. Do you know the effects of anger on the body? It make you age quicker. That's why some people look so old in the face. Yeah. That might be why some people ain't aging that well. I digress. Okay, so, but listen, let me say this also about anger. According to mentalhealth.net, people change their feelings of pain into anger. Let's have another conversation. People change their feelings of pain into anger because it feels better to be angry than it does to be in pain. That's why when you stub your toe, you get mad at the table. You're like, oh, that table, because now I get to be angry at the table and focus my energy, my mind, and all those other kind of things at the table. Rather than just sit down and just be like, This changing of pain into anger may be done consciously or unconsciously, which means you may not even realize you're doing it. Being angry rather than simply in pain has a number of advantages, primarily among them distraction. There's some good teaching in here, y'all. You switch from self-focus, your pain, to other focus, payback and revenge. But the reason you are even looking at payback and revenge is because you are hurt. Y'all. And furthermore, according to the reading that I've been doing, it is more prevalent in men than it is women. Because women are allowed to be vulnerable and hurt, men are not. So because men are not allowed to be vulnerable and hurt, we can express anger, but we can't express hurt. Brothers. Anger thus temporarily protects people from having to recognize and deal with their own pain and their own feelings. You get to worry more about get back at the people you are angry with instead of your own healing. Making yourself angry can help you to hide the reality that you find a situation frightening or scary, and that you feel vulnerable and hurt. So often when we've been hurt by somebody, it manifests itself in anger. Isn't that interesting? And if I am not then dealing with my hurt, I cannot heal from my hurt. And if my hurt has now transferred into me being angry, and anger leads to sin, now not only am I hurt, I'm going down the wrong path. Some of the people we deal with are only angry because they're hurt. Some of the people that we deal with, and truth be told, some of us, from what we have had to deal with and go through, the anger you see is only a manifestation of the hurt we feel. How could this happen? How could you do this? And the hurt then manifests, it turns into anger. Because I'd rather fight you, and I'd rather fight this than sit and be perhaps passive, non-aggressive. And I'm not telling anybody to let somebody abuse you. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is when you have been hurt by someone, when you've been hurt by something, the way to heal from it is to not get revenge on them. Have you ever got revenge on anybody? I don't need an answer. Y'all were like in The Color Purple. In The Color Purple, they asked you to get a drink. You was like, oh, I'll get you a drink. Y'all don't remember this. Should I explain further? Should I explain further? Is that enough? Is that enough? Or should I explain for? Savannah said I explain for no. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch The Color Purple. But listen, even after I have done that, my hurt still exists. And I have done nothing to heal from that hurt. The only thing I've done is just do something that ain't pleasing in the sight of the Lord. That's it. That's it. I have lowered my integrity. I have lowered my character. I have laid down my religion and everything that I have worked to be in order to get to this place in my spiritual walk with God to get back at you. Because you hurt me. You damaged me. So now, if you're going to damage me, well, I'm going to definitely damage you. But now, the only thing I got now is two damaged people. And if healing doesn't happen from the hurt, all we doing is just two people trying to get revenge on each other. All we doing is just two people or a family or whatever it is, just getting revenge on each other. Sound like I'm talking about our family reunions. So the option with anger is always we can hulk or we can heal. We can hulk out in our anger or we can heal. We can hulk, H-U-L-K, like the Incredible Hulk. We get angry, yeah. We can hulk, H-U-L-K, hulk or heal. But we can't do both at the same time. No man can serve two masters. Let me give y'all another scripture. No man can serve two masters. You either hate the one and love the other, or you will hold the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. Yeah, go back and look it up. It's what Jesus said. Yeah, that ain't Stackhouse. That's Jesus. Yeah, that's the gospel. So it says, be angry, but sin not, because the devil will use sin. Also, and it says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Let me talk to y'all couples for a minute. I like the way my eyes stretch when I say they are like. Let me talk to y'all couples for a moment. You know, I'm a firm believer in, and I'll probably get on my wife's nerves with this. I'm a firm believer in patterns. In patterns. And the patterns you allow to, I found myself in this word again, concretize, solidify in your relationships. And it always starts small. You know, you know, y'all gonna be angry at each other for a little while. And then that little while turns into, you know, we pass each other, but we don't say anything to each other because I need a moment. And then we're trying to see, well, who's going to say something first and break the silence. And now it's gone from 5 minutes to an hour. Now it's gone from an hour to y'all don't really even talk. You're going to go and do your thing, and I'm going to go and do my thing because we angry at each other and all that kind of stuff. But the Bible says, y'all play around if you want to, but by the time you lay down, you might not even be able to resolve it. But before you go to sleep, say, hey. You might not even be ready to say, I'm sorry. But you look them in the eye, in the ocular nerve. And say, I love you. I don't want to go to bed angry. I love you. I don't want to go to bed angry. Now, when we wake up in the morning, we might have to rehash some stuff. But when I lay down tonight, I'm going to lay down with at least enough peace that I love you, you love me, We got some stuff we got to work out. But I love you. You love me. And I'm going to at least let the anger go long enough to go to sleep. And you know why the Bible says you don't go to sleep angry? Because you might not wake up again. And ain't nobody got time for that. Twofold, y'all. Twofold. First of all, what you going to do? You going to stand before the Lord and be like, well, Lord, you understand why I was angry. He going to be like, yeah, I mean, how could they say I do that to you? I understand why you lost your temper. I mean, you know, they put nails in my hand, lied on me, put crowns on a crown of thorn on my head, blood was dripping down, you know, put nails in my feet, lifted me up on the cross, lied on me, everything else. And you know what? I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through. And that is not to slight nor minimize what you are going through. It is to put in perspective what's on the line. What's on the line, y'all? My soul. I want to lay down. I want to have a certain degree of peace. I want to have a certain degree of peace. So Savannah knows that whatever has happened in the day, when that day ends, I'm gonna say I love you. She's gonna say I love you back. She's gonna say I love you back. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like I said, the next day we may have to have a discussion to make sure that whatever happened that caused the anger, that we know how to properly navigate through it, because you can't just sweep some stuff under the rug. You end up with so much stuff swept under there, you got a mess. But when we lay down tonight, I'm laying down with some peace of mind. I'm laying down with some peace of mind. And the other thing is, if I don't wake up and I stand before the Lord, he don't want to hear that. And what about the other part? I don't wake up. Now Savannah, the last conversation we had, y'all know how Satan will use guilt too. First he make you angry, then he make you guilty for what you did while you were angry. Now she walking around, the last conversation we had, she all tore up because she's like, I never got to tell him I love him, even though, and it was so, you just don't let the sun go down on your anger. Because it says, when you do, here's the last clause of it. Because when you do, good Lord, I'm not going to get to the ego. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get to the ego. I should have moved more expeditiously through this lesson today. But it said, but when you do, when you act in anger, live in that anger, go to sleep in that anger. According to the scripture, once again, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and verse 27, when we allow ourselves to live that way, and man, we're going to end in just a minute, because I know we got to have our men's ministry meeting. But when we allow ourselves to do that, what does the Bible say? We make room for what? Make room for. Make room for. Like, you ever had guests coming at the house? Y'all never had guests coming to the house? You ever had guests coming to the house? When the guests coming to the house, you're going to make room for them. Let me back up for a minute. You ever had somebody coming to spend the night? Or so a family member or whatever. A family member coming to spend the night? Somebody you can trust to stay in your house? You know, you can't trust everybody to stay there. Some people come and you locking stuff up, putting stuff away. When they get up to go to the bathroom, you watch them. You're like, And when they come out, you still watching. You're like, yeah, you going back to where you say you were going to go. But you make room for them. You make room for them. You wash the sheets on the bed or on the air mattress that they're going to sleep on. You clear out a spot for the air mattress. You know, you do those things because you make room in anticipation of what is going to stay. And if you are making room for the devil, that is in anticipation, he ain't just passing through. Excuse me. I said ain't. He is not just passing through. And there's a song, Brother Harris, Sister Tamani, Sister Harris. One of y'all know this song. Somebody, is Jonathan Moreno's Make Room for You? Because if I could make room for the devil, surely I can make room in my life for the Lord. And I can seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you. And with that, we'll end. And we'll have to get to the ego next week. So, because we got to get to the ego. We got to get to how he uses the ego. Because I want to talk about the big ego. I want to talk about the small ego. I want to talk about the healthy ego. And how all of these things play out. And I'm going to get a little bit into Sigmund Freud. Because you can't really talk about ego without talking about Sigmund Freud. And the super ego and the id and things of that nature. We're not going to get too far down in the weeds. But, I mean, we come to learn, though, right? So we're going to discuss those things. So not next week, because next week we'll be at the Rack for our Back in Black. Yeah, for our Back in Black, we're going to have old things that our grandmothers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers used to use around the farms and around the house and whatnot. The young adults are going to have a game called The Price is Right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of those old school items, and we're going to ask you what the price was for it at the year that it came out. And it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do that so we're gonna come in, we're gonna have praise and worship, then we're gonna give. Our young adults are gonna lead us in there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're just gonna walk around and see the things and just have a good time talking with one another. So we won't be here next week. Well, thank you, Dad, for reminding me. We will be at the Rack, and next Wednesday at noon we'll be right here. Yeah, we'll be right here. Thank you. We'll be right here in the fellowship hall having our Ash Wednesday worship at noon. So, and that's it. Everybody stand to your feet. It's time to go. Yeah, so Wednesday at noon we'll be here for Ash Wednesday worship. Then Wednesday afternoon at 6:30 p.m. we'll be at the Rack. So where will we be at noon? Right here. And where will we be next Wednesday at 6:30? At the Rack. Thank you so much. Now, sure as heaven is happy, y'all still going to be coming over here. But that's all right. Once you see nobody's here, you'll remember. That's right. We at the Rack. Okay. Door God's Church is open. Door God's Church is open to my sister who just joined the church online yesterday. God bless you. Heaven smile upon you and your family. It is such an amazing thing that God keeps adding to his church, saving souls and blessing people through this online community, through our Connected Campus. So in our Connected Campus, if you need to give your life to Christ, you can do so. Just go to lewischapel.org. Top of the screen that says join. Just click that, and I cannot wait to give you a call to get to know you, to get to know your family, and to welcome you to Lewis Chapel Missionary Baptist Church, because whoever you are, wherever you are a child of God. Therefore, that means that you belong here. I'm talking about places like Cordova, Tennessee. You ever heard of Cordova? I don't know places like, I don't have the, I mean, places, y'all, I have never heard of. But this ministry is reaching and blessing people all over the world. And I'm so humble at what God is doing. So if your soul needs to be saved, I want you to know God can reach you right where you are. And if you're in this space, if your soul needs to be saved, if you need to join the church, I'm going to give the benediction. You can just come and let me know, I want to be saved. I want to join God's church. Or you can go to lewischapel.org and you can join the church or give your life to Christ there.